Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Al and I'm a retired sergeant, canine handler, and state trooper in Ohio. Wanted to react today to the reactions of some of the Secret Service agents that worked the Trump detail, and just reiterate too that I'm not a Secret Service agent. I never was a Secret Service agent. However, in my career, I handled probably between 50 and 100 dignitary escorts with the Secret Service, primarily as traffic escorts. I was usually on a sweep team that would escort the convoy of vehicles to their locations that they were either going to speak at or back to the airport where they flew in from. So I have some experience in doing some of the actual dignitary protection. However, I have no formal training in dignitary protection. However, I do have some insight just based on my experiences. I do have extensive law enforcement training to include dynamic scenarios that require one to think on their feet and to think quickly and to act efficiently and conduct the task that is required, or the task at hand, I guess would be a better way to put it. One example of that type of dynamic would be something that we would have every year called CD training, which is civil disturbance training. And during that, we would do scenarios where there would be, you would have your handgun, obviously, and your shotgun, and the drill would be that you were going to run through a course and shoot the shotgun. That's how usually it would start. You would shoot the shotgun while moving, and you would shoot at a couple of targets. Then you would get behind cover and reload the shotgun and you would have your bandolier on you. I should have mentioned that, and some extra rounds for your shotgun. So then you would have you'd have to open up the action of the shotgun, put a round into the chamber, extend the pump for the shotgun, and then start to put other rounds in the bottom of the shotgun tube. And then while that was happening, there would be instructors that would be screaming at you, telling you what you're messing up. So it was very, very stressful. There'd be a lot going on. You were shooting, you were moving, you were reloading, and you were getting screamed at by instructors. And then they would face a target with a piece of string. They would face this target that was of a silhouette of a bad guy pointing a gun at you, and you would be required to respond to that threat with your handgun. So you would grab the shotgun, put it close to you, unholster your handgun, and shoot at the target, and then reholster and finish loading. And again, they're screaming at you. So very, very stressful. And however, what the purpose of the training was for you to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's part of a lot of what Secret Service goes through in their training, is being comfortable being uncomfortable, which I hope that makes sense. But you have to react in a certain way, and they're trained to react in a certain way. And some of what I saw in some of the training, in some of the reactions in the real world setting, told me that they weren't reacting to their training, they were reacting to their instincts, which is understandable. However, what that means is that there needs to be some more training. So another example would be canine training. With canine training, when you're training the dogs are taught a pattern, a search pattern, and through time and through extensive training, and I'm talking about drug detection. That's what I was a drug dog handler. So you present an area to the dog, and usually a vehicle, but sometimes buildings. But in a vehicle, which was 99% of what I did as a state trooper, you start at a certain area of the car, usually at the rear of the car, because you have a traffic stop. and then you start at the trunk seam and you walk around the vehicle. You present high-low. The dog starts to figure out the pattern. It takes years, to develop the dog, to get the dog where you want the dog to be. And if the dog is still young, if you deviated from what was the normal pattern for the dog in a real world scenario, the dog would be lost. The dog wouldn't know how to react because this is completely different than how we usually do it. So the dog would instead of reverting to its training, would revert to its instincts, which is a lot of what happened in the Trump detail, particularly in that shooting, was that you saw some of the agents react to their instincts instead of reacting to their training. And I'm going to point some of that out, and we'll go through this together. And I'll point out what I saw. Now, again, I'm not a Secret Service agent, never was. I've never been through their training. However, there's some things that I know through law enforcement training and also through working some of these details that, like I said, I can give you a little bit of insight on. So I had the video queued up to like 3 or 4 seconds before the first shots ring out. And you're going to see, obviously, Mr. Trump react to being struck in the ear by either a bullet or fragments of the teleprompter, whatever they finally figure out what it was. But he reacts and he drops down to the ground. And I'm going to say within 2 seconds, agents are jumping up on the stage, and there's going to be another view I'm going to show you from another video, and you're going to see that stage is elevated, and there's some stairways, and they get there pretty quick. And I think there's like 2 or 3 agents that jump on Mr. Trump right away, and they do as they were trained to do. They covered up his body. Now, again, with rifle rounds coming from an AR-15, those rounds are, if those agents are wearing vests, that round is still going to go through that vest. However, there's going to be some stopping power. And again, if it's a rifle, like I said, you're trying to make yourself big and cover up the dignitary. However, if it's hitting arms or hitting somewhere where there's not a vest or even a head, that round will probably still hit the dignitary. But what you're trying to do is cover the protectee, and so that the shooter doesn't know exactly where to aim at. So again, you're going to see these agents jump into action, and there's going to be a female agent that comes from the right side of the screen over towards him, and she like she put some weight into it when she jumped in there. So kudos to her, but kudos to these agents. They did exactly what they were trained. So let's start the video.
Chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Now you saw that one agent on the left. He jumped in a little bit late, but he had his weapon drawn already when he got up there, but then he put his weapon away or reholstered it. And it's probably because once they're with the protectee, they're trying to protect them from any threats, and it's not going to do any good for them to have their weapon out, and they're not really protecting anything, and also they're causing kind of a hazard with that weapon out and about, and it may be an accidental discharge. So I'm assuming that's why he holstered the weapon. You're going to see other agents. There's a couple of agents over here on the right side, right over here. And then you can see these photographers are, and it's pretty insane. They're running around almost like they're Secret Service agents themselves. They're pretty fearless out there. So just keep an eye on them as we go through the video here. Now, you see also these agents are looking off to the right, and I'm assuming that somebody's been on the radio, and they're trying to get the motorcade in place, and they're trying to get the dignitary or the president, former president's vehicle ready and in place, as close as they can, practically, to the stage, so because that vehicle provides more cover than just their bodies. So they're trying to back up that vehicle. Somebody's already on it. So they're looking off over there to the right. And again, I don't have inside information on this, but I'm presuming that that's what's going on. There's some communication going on their radios, and they're getting that vehicle in place. Now you're going to also hear some communication between the agents themselves.
Hold, when you're ready, on you. Ready, move.
Okay, he said move up. So he said on you, which means this guy right here, I'm assuming that that's who he's talking to, is going to lead them out of this area and over to the vehicle. Now, that vehicle is probably still moving as we speak, and it looks like this agent, and I'm sure then there's that female agent that's over here. And let me rewind over to where she jumps into play here, because it's pretty impressive. There she, I don't know if you just saw that. She just came flying in here. I'm going to rewind it just a second. See that? She just jumped right in there.
Hold, when you're ready, on you. Ready, move. Move. Go.
Now the time stamp there is about 48 seconds when I think the guy said move, and then you see this guy here. He's a counter assault team. They call it CAT team, and it's like the SWAT team that travels around with the dignitaries. And it's a bit of an abbreviated version of the counter assault team, as opposed to when the president arrives. It's a bigger team, but anyway, 48 seconds, and we're going to see how long it takes them to actually move. But there's a lot of moving parts going on. You know, these guys are assessing any injuries to him, whether or not he can even walk. They're probably trying to determine that. They're also trying to determine like how we're going to do this. You know, how we're going to get him out of here. So.
Hawkeye's here. You ready?
Now you see how these counter assault team guys are walking around, very big targets. They're assessing the situation. They're scanning the scene, looking for any possible threats, and very fluid. But again, they're trained for that. They've been training for that their whole careers for moments just like this. So pretty impressive in my opinion what these guys are doing here. You see this agent right here, she's in a cowered down position, kind of hunkered down, not making herself big, not making herself, I guess, putting herself in a position where she can scan at a higher level. I don't even know how to put it. Like, she looks tactical, but she looks scared, in my opinion.
We are watching a rally right now. Former President Trump was just in the middle of a speech when what sounded like possible shots were fired. We saw the former president, take cover. Security is now surrounding him.
So this guy is getting in position. They're raising up the dignitary, and I'm sure they're, again, trying to assess some stuff.
Getting him out of the event.
What kind of a condition he's in. You see one agent holding his hat. Now this is the female agent that rushed in on him. And you're going to see her get in front of the former president on this side and attempt to shield him. But she's so short that she's not able to actually protect him. Now, also, Mr. Trump didn't help the situation by standing even taller. he should have been cowered down. However, he made himself bigger, and it made it difficult for these agents to effectively protect him, at least provide cover for him.
So we got to move to the bus.
Obviously, a huge security concern there. People were screaming. Still unclear exactly what happened.
You see these guys, they keep looking back, and they're looking back because they're trying to figure out what's going on here. Are we moving? When are we moving? If we're going to move, then let's go. And however, these guys here are taking the lead. They're running the show right now, and these other folks are responding to their movements. So, like I said, look at these photographers, standing right up there. Now, granted, the shooter's been neutralized, but nobody knows that yet.
Happened, but a very big security concern there for former President Trump. Secret Service agents now surrounding him.
See, that agent is still holding a hat. Or I think maybe Mr. Trump might have the hat now. But do you see how they're all draped over each other? And again, they're trying to provide coverage for the dignitary. And they're trying to protect him. And they're trying to shield him from the line of sight of any potential shooter. This agent here is going to take off her sunglasses at one point. And that might just be, again, she's not reverting to her training, she's reverting to her instincts. So she's removing the glasses in order for her, I think, to see clearly as she's going to be walking down these steps here.
And they're taking him off the stage.
I would imagine, too, she may have smudges on him now because people have been rubbing up against each other, and so she might not be able to see clearly out of them. Now she's got the hat. See, they're trying to provide cover for him. You saw that agent there. This is the agent that's been getting a lot of flack for, I guess, maybe the way that she looks, and she doesn't look like she's in shape, and then also she's gonna have some trouble reholstering her weapon. This video doesn't go long enough to see that, and then also maybe for some of the reaction here, because there's a lot of looking around, like eyes darting around, and I get that. But you have to revert to your training, and your training is mandates that you scan the crowd. That eye darting stuff isn't doing you any favors. It makes you look weak, and I'm not saying that she is weak. I'm saying it makes her look weak. So she's not reverted to her training. She's reverted to her instincts. Also, there's not a lot of, I'm sure there's communication going on. However, this is happening live, in front of them, and they keep looking back to find out, is he in the car or in the vehicle or what? What's going on back there? So, I like I said, I understand what's happening, but it doesn't look good. If that makes sense. So, in order for you to be effective as a Secret Service agent, and any law enforcement, you need to train like you fight, because ultimately you're going to fight like you trained, and that means, I've never been to Secret Service training, and I think I'm going to show you a video here in a second of that agent trying to put her weapon back in her holster, and she's having a problem doing it. And I don't know, but I'm presuming that it's probably because she's not wearing what she normally wears when she's training, if that makes sense. And the reason I'm saying that is because the pants that she's wearing seem to be very high in the waist. And the reason that she's having a problem, I think, putting her weapon back in the holster is because she's wearing a coat, which makes the mobility of your shoulders a little different, a little tighter. You know, it's hard for you to get your shoulders up. And then she's trying to put her weapon into a holster that's probably higher than it usually is. And I'm just presuming that they probably train in, you know, Docker type pants, maybe polo shirts or t-shirts when they're training. And when you're training, that's, you know, you're going to revert to that training, and that, I'm not sure, you know, she probably is wearing the same holster that she wears with those uniforms or the gear that she wears when she's training. However, that waist is pretty high, and with the coat, it makes your shoulder mobility a little bit tougher. And that's probably why she had a problem reholstering the weapon. I don't know that for sure. However, in my experience, and I can give you a scenario, well, not even a scenario, but real world. Our dress uniforms when I was in the patrol was a form-fitting blouse, you know, and it was really sharp looking, and it had these hooks for your gun belt, and your gun belt would sit on these hooks. Well, the thing was that the holster, I'm sorry, the gun belt was high up on your torso, and it, like I said, it looked sharp, and you know the blouse extended beyond the length of your waist on your pants. So ordinarily you would have your gun belt on your waist and attached to your actual trouser belt, and you would have your gun belt over that. Then you'd have belt keepers that keep that in place. Well, because it's on the blouse, that's why you had those hooks. But when you're wearing that gun belt, and you're wearing that blouse, man, you have a really hard time getting your weapon out of that. And some guys, when I first started in 1993, some guys would patrol with that coat on, and I just knew from my own experience that I didn't want to do that. And maybe those guys were skinny enough that they could get away with it and actually unholster their weapon if they needed to. And again, that weapon or that uniform looks really, really sharp. And I understood why they wanted to wear it, because it looks good. However, for practical terms, I would not want to wear that. Probably, and one of I guess the biggest reason was because I never trained with it. And you're going to train like you fight, because you're going to fight like you train. So that's another really big factor. So when you're training, you want to train in conditions that are similar. You don't want to be, you know, I guess if you're doing rallies indoors, and sometimes you do rallies indoors, you need to train for that, you know. And then if you're doing rallies outdoors, you need to train outdoors. So you need to simulate the conditions that are real world, and you're going to be and if that's rain, then you're going to have to train in the rain. You know, if it's snowing and you do real world rallies in the snow, then you're going to have to train that way too, because you're going to revert back to your training. And if you're in an uncomfortable situation, then you're going to revert to your instincts. So now this is a different vantage point. Obviously, the stage is off on the right side. They've already taken him off the stage, and they're walking and escorting him back over to the vehicle. As you can see, all the agents that are behind him and the two in front of him are trying to make themselves big. They're trying to shield the former president's body. And you see this agent here even has his hand up, again, to shield him from any possible line of sight of somebody aiming for him. You see the Secret Service CAT team member here, counter assault team, and you see a female agent right here in front. She's got her weapon drawn, and she's got the lead. Now you can see, we'll play the video, and you can see that she's moving a little bit slower than these gentlemen are here that are trying to escort him, and she needs to either get out of the way or move faster, in my opinion.
We love you, Trump.
She peels off there. Now you see counter assault team. This looks like maybe a Secret Service agent, but he's a little older guy, so he might be like a supervisor. And these look like a couple of local PD guys here. And there's a team over here, and they may be local SWAT. I'm not sure, which is not unusual. Like I said, see, there's the limousine here, and then there's another limousine. So I would have presumed that this vehicle was previously parked behind this vehicle, and they moved it closer to where the stage was. Now you see these agents here, these two female agents, and again, the way that their eyes are darting around, it just makes it look like they're not prepared. It makes it look like they're scared. That's what it looks like. I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. I'm gonna make this a bigger video there. You see how these counter assault team guys have made their bodies big. These guys are all standing straight up. Everybody's big. These two females are crouched down. And like I said, they're not reverting to their training. They're reverting to their instincts. And I get it because I've been there. See, now this is the one that tackled or jumped on top of him on the stage. She's put her sunglasses back on. And again, she's just reverting to instincts. In the scenario when she took her sunglasses off, she should have pitched them. She should have gotten rid of them. She should not have anything in her hands. One of the biggest tools that you have as a cop is your hands. And she should not have had anything in her hands in that moment. But again, that blood is pumping, man, and her heart is going fast, and you're doing things. I guarantee you, when she probably watches this video, she probably doesn't even remember taking her glasses off, because that's how things happen in these types of situations. So it looks like everybody's in a panic here. I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit and go over. Like I said, it looks like her coat and maybe the height of her belt line is keeping her from being able to find where the holster is. And that should be muscle memory. You should do that 10 times a day. I mean, even before you leave your house, just muscle memory, holster on holster, holster on holster, because you never know when you're going to need that weapon. It looks like the holster's back here, but she's trying to put it over here. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure if that's a magazine holder. I'm not sure what that is there, but she's trying to put it in that instead of the holster's a little bit behind her. Behind where she's trying to put it. And we saw this other agent put her sunglasses back on. So she's, making herself big, trying to escort the dignitary into the vehicle. And then once he's in the vehicle, she turns around and puts her sunglasses on. Not a big deal, but you see they're walking along the vehicle, escorting the vehicle out of there. Now there's this guy here. I'm not sure what this is all about here. This guy, he might be Secret Service undercover that might have been working in the crowd. You see he's got a backpack. And here's his backpack right here. And he's got a big goatee. Watch. He's going to point down. He's pointing down. And he's pointing down to the hat that Trump was wearing when he was escorted off. And then there's that other older guy I told you. He's going to pick up the hat. So it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of weird. And then when he finishes here, he's going to walk along. And then he's in a motion. There's like a stack of other SWAT team members. I don't think they're a CAT team. I could be wrong. And he motions them, and then they start marching over towards the stage. Now he's in a motion. These other guys, come on. Yeah, she was trying to put it on her badge. That was her badge. So there was that. Now this is this other video here, and again, and the title is "Watch What Secret Service Did Moments Before Trump Was Attacked," and it wasn't moments before; it was actually moments after Trump was attacked. But you're going to see a guy, and there's going to be an arrow over his body, walking over, and the shots ring out, and then he ducks down. Now, there's no way of this, or at least me knowing that this is an agent. It might be a staffer, which could be anywhere from a speech writer to a secretary. I mean, just somebody that travels with him, maybe a personal assistant. I have no way of knowing whether or not this is an actual agent, but you're going to see other actual agents immediately start to rush the stage. So I'm not sure that this is actually an agent, but I just thought that the video was interesting.
To our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's
He looks like he directs these photographers to get away, which wouldn't be unusual for a staffer to do. It's not only Secret Service that does that kind of stuff. Staffers do that kind of stuff too.
a little bit old, that chart. That chart's
The shots ring
months
out.
old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what
reacts.
happened.
See the agents, they ran for the
That
stage.
chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
See, just because he's wearing a suit and wearing sunglasses doesn't mean he's a Secret Service agent. Could be somebody just traveling with him. So it's just an observation. It's no big deal. But okay, well, so continuing with some of the training, not scenarios, but conditions that you should simulate as a Secret Service agent is if you're wearing sunglasses, then you need to train wearing sunglasses. And again, if they get smudged up and you're not able to see and you're in a real world scenario, you need to get rid of them. You know, just pitch them and until this whole situation is hashed out and figured out. It's just an unsafe way to operate, is to have things in your hands when you may need your hands. And again, there's so many moving parts on a detail like this. There's obligations that certain agents have that are in that bubble right there very close to him, and we don't know what that agent that was off on the right that had a weapon out and she was scanning the crowd. I don't know that she was supposed to be on the stage. I don't know whether or not she's got she's on the outside of that bubble and providing cover for these other agents that are in the bubble. So that may be the scenario. So we don't know for sure. And again, the way that she reacted made it look like she was panicking. I get it. And obviously in a situation like that, you probably will be panicking. If somebody's shooting in your direction and you're right there in the line of fire, you don't know what you're going to do until you've trained to do that or you've actually been in that. And I guarantee you, all these agents that watch this footage afterwards, and there's going to be a lot of review over this with the entire agency and how to do things the right way and how to do things the way that they did them. There's going to be some serious soul searching, and I'm sure that they're going to address some of these training scenarios. So these faults in training, you know, because like I said, you got to train like you fight. And, you know, another thing, obviously, these agents need to make themselves big when they're around the dignitary because they need to protect the dignitary. And, you know, the height of that one female agent that was in the bubble was a factor. Now, if they're protecting, you know, Nancy Pelosi, who is maybe 5'2", you can have 20 field agents that are, or 20 Secret Service agents that are 5'5", and all will be good. But in this particular scenario, we should probably think that through a little bit more. There's a famous Green Bay Packers coach in the past named Vince Lombardi, and he famously quoted that there's no such thing as perfection, but in striving for perfection, we can achieve excellence. And the real world in Secret Service, obviously they have a no-fail mission. They cannot fail. However, you know, they're striving for perfection, and perfection is just not possible. It's certainly something that you can strive for perfection, and in hopes of reaching excellence. And so that's, I guess, my take on this whole thing. There's no perfection. There's always room for improvement, and you know, this agency is probably going to become stronger because of this. I know they lost their director. That's a hit, you know, to lose your director. However, they're going to come out on the other side of this stronger because of the failure, because of the failures. Sometimes you need a wake-up call like this, and I've been in situations in my career where things haven't gone the way that I expected them to go in a particular scenario, and then, you know, reviewing a video or whatever, made changes in the way that I operated to mitigate those failures, and to reduce the amount of or the possibility of bad things happening. So that'll conclude today's video. I hope you found it entertaining. I hope you found it educational. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you watching, and I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. I want it to grow. You know, in the algorithm, you have to have people actively, you know, watching your videos in order for it to grow. You'll have to have people subscribe. You have to have people like, comment on the video. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next one.